one of your travel highlights is finding places you can tuck into for a cozy meal or drink and just steeping in the culture of the place you're visiting, then this video is for you. I'm willing to bet that when you think back on some of your favorite memories of not just travel but of life, that eating and drinking, particularly when coupled with people that you care about, rise to the top. At least that's the way it is for me. And in this video, I'm going to show you some of my favorite coffee houses in Vienna and a very unique restaurant, actually the only one that I know of its kind, where I had a meal that will forever stand out in my memories. T.S. Eliot wrote about measuring out life in coffee spoons, so nice, and I feel like such a life could definitely be lived in Vienna, Austria. Vienna coffee houses are often referred to as, quote, public living rooms. Coffee runs through the city's veins, and coffee houses are so essential to Viennese culture that UNESCO actually included them on their list of intangible cultural heritage, and described them as places where, quote, time and space are consumed, but only the coffee is found on the bill. How lovely a description is that? I asked my friends who live in Vienna where they, as locals, would go for a nice coffeehouse experience, and they said Café Sperl. This place was established in 1880, and it has a long history of serving the Viennese intelligentsia of architects, artists, musicians, actors, singers, and VIPs like Archduke Josef Ferdinand himself. It was built according to the design of the same architects that built Vienna's famous ring road. Café Sperl embodies what I'd call casual grandeur. You'll find high ceilings, elaborate carved details with gold trim, and chandeliers that give away its old roots. But the busy servers and cluttered dishes also remind you that this is very much a current place where people come to just read the paper or play pool or have a rest while their children play. We had a traditional Viennese treat of coffee and cake, and the thing to order in Vienna is called a mélange. Oh my god, can't you just almost taste the word as you say it? Ugh, it's so beautiful. Mélange. It's a mocha with foam, and to eat, we had a divine chocolate cake called Sachertorte. One of my favorite parts of coffee houses in Vienna is the presentation. Coffee always comes on a silver tray with a spoon and a little glass of water. It gives the whole experience this wonderful sense of occasion, and I took great pleasure in taking every lovely piece off the silver tray and arranging it just so on the table, which felt very satisfying. I love Café Sperl, but my number one favorite coffee house in Vienna is Café Havelka, which I'll always feel nostalgic about because I went there on my first trip to the city when I was 18, and I was so excited to take Mark back and make a new memory with him. Havelka is kind of tucked away, and you could probably walk by it without even realizing it. And what I love most about this place is that it feels really authentic and cozy, and I swear to God you can feel the history in your bones when you breathe the air in there. It's dimly lit, and it feels worn in like your favorite sweater that no new sweater could possibly replicate. The tables are just a little too close together, which means you might accidentally brush someone's coat as you walk by, or need to say excuse me, all of which makes it feel more intimate. The coffee house was started by a couple named Leopold and Josefina Havelka, who opened for business the day after their wedding in the 1930s. Leopold lived to be 100 years old, and Josefina until age 91. I actually met Josefina on my first visit there. She was still serving coffee and taking care of customers at over 90 years old, which I'll never forget because I found it really inspiring. Our server this time was dressed in a tuxedo, and he was lovely to chat with. I had a coffee, Mark had hot chocolate, and we were lucky enough to enjoy it all on a coveted sofa seat. The best meal I had in Vienna was at an Icelandic restaurant called Home. Our friend suggested it because, if you didn't know already, Mark and I met in Iceland on a program for people whose family background is Icelandic. The restaurant sign has a picture of an Arctic tern called a kría in Icelandic, which is really funny because in Iceland, you have to be careful of these birds dive bombing your head from the sky. Our meal was super simple but absolute perfection. Homemade bread with a generous pat of salted butter, a few greens, and a heavenly fish soup. Honestly, this was one of the most memorable meals I've ever had. I can almost taste it now if I concentrate hard enough. We had a nice moment at the end when we were leaving too. I said thank you to the waiter in Icelandic because he was obviously from Iceland, and he was really startled and said back in Icelandic, "Do you speak Icelandic?" I replied, yeah, a little, and then we switched to German and then to English. He was so surprised and happy to hear Icelandic, and it made us feel really good to have that Icelandic connection in Austria of all places. I don't know about you, but I definitely need a coffee and a snack after talking about all these delicious places to go in Vienna. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. I'd love to hear more about one of your most memorable meals or coffee experiences, so leave a comment down below. Tell me where and what it was. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos, and thank you so much for watching.